Hello there. Hey, howdy. Blake, how you doing tonight?
Doing so far so good. How about that? Not too bad. Barely made it in here, but it's great to be here.
You know, by the skin of our
How you doing,
teeth.
Brian?
All right? The world is but a stage. We might as well show up for the play. We can sleep on the other side. That's what they say. Maybe we could turn that into a hit song, Blake. Maybe we could get that on the pop charts or something. But yeah, it's good to be with you this evening, folks. My name's Brian Engelman. That is Blake Walley, or TV's Blake Walley. You can follow him on Twitter. He's at TV's Blake Walley and The Next Level News. But you have found us today on the Agree to Disagree show on the New American Media because the old American media, well, we've kind of learned about the Smith-Mundt Act and the CIA's influence. Like, we're just getting propaganda from the legacy media, the lying legacy media. I have a skit that I'm working on. I haven't finished it, but here, if you'll allow me. Okay, let me pull up the microphone a little bit.
Actually, yeah, Brian, take that. I'm gonna go change my shirt. I've gotten some green screen interference here. I never wore this on camera before.
Green screen interference. Oh,
It's not really my new studio. I know it looks pretty badass, but
it's
all right. I'll change my back. Go ahead.
It's
Brian.
like one of those hypercolor shirts, right? Like you put your handprint on it and it changes colors. So
Yeah,
here's the little skit that I was working on. I might try to turn it into a short for the New American Media coming up. By the way, follow us in all the places: the Agree to Disagree show, the New American Media, and patreon.com/the New American Media, because we always appreciate you helping us out there. Leave your comments and stuff. If you go to our Twitter page at American_media_, at American_media_, I just sent out the link where you could jump into our show and as a caller and give us 60 seconds. We don't want to. We're going to try to keep things moving super fast today, but if you have a take on any story, give us 60 seconds of your take because we want to interact, try something a little bit different, but quick. What do you got there? Living legend, Blake.
Living Legends since '77. There you
go. That's like one of those T-shirts you'd see advertised off Temu or something.
I don't remember. I probably got enough Cafe Press or something.
Well,
Anyhow.
Well, what's up, bud? What I was starting to write was this part, and I might turn this into a 60-second short. I said, "Hello, I'm Brian Engelman." I couldn't even say my name right.
You're writing a poem? What's going on here? All right.
This is going to be a 60-second short that I put on the New American Media YouTube, but it's related to exactly how we started the show off, and I wanted to try it. I'm going to try it out. It's not put together yet. It's in bits and pieces, like hashtags and 2 or 3 lines and a couple squiggles and stuff, but here we go. I got to get this in under 60 seconds. Hello, I'm Brian Engelman. Have you or a loved one been exposed to the news? Legacy media, lying, dying legacy media. Although there's nothing mainstream about it, they call it mainstream media. It goes by many street names. Harmful misinformation or disinformation. This content could have been delivered to you from one of these outlets, and you deserve compensation. So, I want to tell you about Project Mockingbird. I want to tell you about Russian collusion, Nicholas Sandmann, Jussie Smollett, Kenosha, and all of the other fake stories that you have been subjected to over the past few years alone. You see, woke educators, known as indoctrinators, have been spreading and inflicting mental abuse, shame, guilt, and fear to young, impressionable, eager to please minds. And this led to a trained populace who read the American newspapers in the 17, 18, and 1900s, believing what they heard. It led to people tuning into the news on the radio, believing that they were getting the facts from the propagandists. However, that has changed today, and more people have realized that the news is no longer the news. So let me help you. My name's Brian Engelman. We've delivered to you the New American Media because the old American media has failed. So I only actually had like the top part of that written. Have you or a loved one been exposed to mainstream content? So I had the idea. I'm working on it. It's like if this was an open mic night at the comedy store, I'd working it out is what they say for comics. Working it out. Blake, do you go to any comedy shows?
It's been a very long time. And Brian, I don't know if it's me or you. It's a really bad connection. Maybe it's me. Okay.
Well, you look fuzzy.
This is oops, reconnecting.
Yeah, you look fuzzy but it looks like bars are strong on both sides. Do you want to reset real quick? Okay, Blake is going to reset. Instagram.com/The New American Media. Facebook, it's TNAMs for The New American Medias. TNAM''S. The Agree to Disagree Show. It's a private group. Find it. On Telegram, we're TNAM and TNAM Chat. On Rumble, we're The New American Media. On Truth, we're The New American Media. On Spotify, The Agree to Disagree Show. So follow us there, please. We appreciate all of that. Blake, looking better, I think. Feeling better? Sounding better? Doing better?
We'll see. It sounds like a computer, and it's weird. It's tripping me out, unfortunately, over some of these internet snafus, but we'll just power through it. I can't tell.
Well,
we don't have some of the
I'll tell you.
tell us if it's me or you or both or what, but.
Well, what I was going to say is go ahead and maybe get us started, or say something. I'm going to reset on my side. I'll do the best I can. We'll chat.
Okay. Oh, Brian has left. All right, so we'll just have to find out. So I don't have any sort. I know there's a few people watching. Let's see if we can get a little feedback. Is it me or Brian? Then we'll get the show underway. I'd like to make it quick tonight, but we do have some very interesting topics to cover. Of course, we've seen the headline here with Riley as the George Floyd of 2024. Very one of the stories I do not have and talk about. I don't know if Brian can hear me, but probably get into the Diddy. What's up? How you doing, Brian?
Yeah, I was just having a conversation. We have a text thread of people covering the island stories. It's like you can't even put any of that stuff on social media. They're so connected. They're the deep state runs Facebook. They run the CIA. Obviously they are the CIA. They're running these trafficking operations. Just this abuse of humanity. It's one thing to be into what you're into and to just, if you're not harming anybody, who cares about how you're living? But it's another to just, be the vampire that feeds on tragedy, like blood to a vampire, So this stuff with Diddy, yeah, if it's not in my stack, but I was literally just talking about it right before show prep to tee everything off today. So if you want to touch on it, pull up a story, we can toss it in at the end. But yeah, like Blake said, we're going to try to move fast today. Are the audio issues or video sync issues, are they a little better yet on your side?
No, you're very hard to understand because like every other word is cutting it out and it sounds like a digital.
Wow.
It's distracting and strange, but I'll try to make do. I don't know if other people are seeing that or not, or if it's just me. What a shame. Anyway,
well, Blake, let's start with
Elon satellite. It's all good.
Well, let's start with story number one, and then I'll listen off air. I'll kind of check the control room here to see how it's being broadcast, at least through YouTube, and see if it's okay on my side. But yes, I did actually restart my whole computer prior to this show. So I know Blake wonders sometimes if I have too many tabs open, but this is not the case today. We did a hard reset. So Blake, yes, the title of the show, Laken Riley is the George Floyd of 2024? ? Agree or disagree? So, start with that. What say you to the question? And then tell us remind anybody that hasn't followed this, who's involved, what happened, and then kind of what's the latest with this? Because this seems to be a flashpoint issue.
Well, yeah, Brian, I think you ran the headline. I think this is one that you've been talking about recently quite a bit with Laken Riley. So, run over a quick story that I picked up out of there until Brian.
Yeah, I was talking about it a few days ago for sure because I just knew that it's going to be a flashpoint. It obviously will. That whole Georgia campus today was packed, elbow to elbow. It's going to be a flashpoint. It obviously will.
Yeah, absolutely. And the mayor is absolutely under fire. I should have brought that into my stack. Brian, maybe you have the video somewhere. You might have to try running it on your end. But it was also alarming that Joe Biden ignored the whole, like it didn't exist. Laken Riley's murder in his crime speech, with the irony here. failed to mention the recent death of University of
All right,
Georgia
Blake, one
nursing
second, Blake.
student.
Pause for 1 second, sir. What appears to be happening on the playback of YouTube, it sounds like my comments are bleeding through, and then the things that you say are bleeding through back to you, back into your feed. So I don't know if you have headphones there that you could toss in, because we're getting your playback through your mic. It's kind of like coming out of your computer and going back, it sounds like. So that might be a temporary fix to today's weirdness. I'll tell you, sometimes, the best intentions of mice and men, right? But, we try to give you the best show that we can without a proper studio, without a proper producer. We wear many hats over here at the New American Media because nobody's going to do it for us. So we're doing the best we can. But go ahead, Blake, take it from here. I'll mute it again and listen off air, see if anything might get a little better. Go ahead, Blake, take it.
Okay, well, I don't know exactly what's happening, but I'll just run with it. Actually, no, Brian, I can hear you. I can hear myself, but I can switch something up here. I just ran a show the other day, and it was, I don't know what's happening now. Oh, well. All right, now I can't hear anything. But yes, this is a disaster with Laken Riley, the other disaster, not the technical problems we're having. But President Joe Biden failing to mention the death of the University of Georgia. So he gave an unexpected address on his actions to fight crime and make our communities safer, like seemingly oblivious to the fact that we have a wide open southern border and probably a northern border too, but that's a story for another day.
When is that day going to be, Blake? Because you've mentioned that a couple of times. That's a story for another day, but I know you're reading stuff about it. Give us one sentence on the northern border.
No, I don't have anything about it, Brian. I just, right. That's just something that's been put out many times, and some people say it's just as bad, but I don't have a particular story in front of me now. But certainly it's America is able to sneak in, and you will be welcomed in, which is another story in the stack. And hello, Rick. It's good to see you. I don't know, maybe Rick, one of the regulars, maybe he can tell us if there's an audio issue. It seems to be smoothing up. But Brian, every time you talk, it sounds like weird, choppy robot to me.
All right, I'm going to change the setting. I'm going to change the settings on mine, and I'm going to unplug.
Actually, you sound good right now.
It sounds good right now?
No, you sound good. You sound good. Don't mess with it. Okay.
Got it. Done. Good.
Anyway. So, yes, Riley's friends reported her missing Thursday after she failed to return from a run on campus. According to the New York, 22-year-old was found in a patch of forest with visible injuries and unconscious. So, of blunt force trauma. So on Monday, Maryland police charged another illegal immigrant, Nilson Trejo Granados of El Salvador, with the murder of a 2-year-old. Yes, the alleged murders have backlash to Biden's handling of the border crisis, as migrant encounters as the U.S.-Mexico border has hit record highs, while he's giving, his speech on actions to fight crime and make our communities safe. While you're letting in people, we have no idea who these people are. So it's called illegal aliens for a reason. But yes, it's a full-blown invasion, and they're pretending like there's no crisis happening. And this is the result. That's that guy before. He should have been deported. But he came back because let him back in. It's pretty horrific stuff here, Brian. So I don't know what direction you want to take that. So this be a flashpoint that the right. When people started freaking out when they saw, George Floyd looks like he got choked up in Minneapolis by a white police officer, without getting into the weeds there. It might have been more to the sea, and it might have been a coincidence in the death. But either way, the optics were horrible, and people rioted nationwide. So will this be something that, well, it's not going to get people to riot per se, but will it get people to start paying attention to the problems with this administration and backlash against Biden?
Yeah, let me play this. Did I double click? I think I need to double click now. Let's need double click. Let me show you a couple of things that we shared out on Twitter, on X at at American_media_. This is a post saying people are finally standing up and saying no more to Biden's murderous open border agenda. This is from Rogue. Okay, now it's clicked into another screen. Did it follow? I'm on. What am I looking at? Oh, it's not going to show, is it? It pulled up in Instagram. Doggone it. I'm trying to show you this, but it took me to Instagram. Anyway, I assure you, this is border to border. This is exactly what I was trying to show you guys, but it won't play from here? Guess not. Yeah, it's on the University of Georgia campus, and people are not happy about it. You see here, Biden and Trump are both heading down to border to Eagle Pass, or Trump is going to Eagle Pass, and Biden's going somewhere fake, of course. So that's worth checking out. But yeah, I did tweet out earlier today what was going on with the mayor down there, the people who are showing up and listening to this guy. He's giving a campaign speech. It's as tone deaf, Blake, as anything I've ever heard. It's like the White House press secretary on crack. In the moment to be talking about thing other than the issue at hand. Here we go. I finally found it. Here we go. This is Kelly Gertz,
Mayor being called
the Democrat mayor of Athens. Blake, what's that? What'd you say, Blake? I missed that.
No, I said you got the
Are you still there?
Mayor, yeah, they're calling for his resignation.
Oh, okay. Yep, here we go. Allegedly. Wow, we got gremlins in the machine. See that little pinwheel of death there? There's no reason that should.
Yeah, Brian, I thought you had the great internet, but and it's bus, but I have no idea where the technical snafus are coming from. You want to refresh that page, Brian? Or is Brian frozen? And I have no idea.
Okay, I think I'm back, but it still won't play. Guys, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, this guy up here talking trash. He's trying to blame Trump for being mean to illegals, and the people in the back are yelling at him. Okay, here's another play.
City doesn't track with either of those, and so that term means in the context of the discussion.
Well, we know what
Many
it means.
of the elements.
Liar.
We're here to listen.
You're a liar.
We're here to listen. There'll be time for
liar.
questions.
You are guilty and got blood on your hands for this murder, sir.
Many of the aspects that are ascribed to sanctuary cities.
He's up there trying to tell him, well, sanctuary city, that term, he's trying to weasel his way out of it. And these people now, they've had it. They're yelling at him openly in this meeting, calling him a liar.
Georgia law.
Sanctuary policy, which is what we do.
And we contribute a document every year to the Georgia Department of Audits indicating that we do not correspond to these definitions under state law.
Yes, you do.
And no policies have been adopted.
And he's lying, saying that they don't have policies that encourage illegal alien invasion activities like what happened to that damn college student. It never should have happened.
Adopted by the mayor and commission that have created sanctuary. One protocol that sometimes arises.
Resign
now!
You allowed
One protocol.
this to happen, sir.
One protocol that sometimes
You voted for
arises
this.
is the approach that sheriff's offices and
Blake, these people will not be allowed to walk the streets. You're hearing it. The Americans are not having this anymore. Americans are fed up. That was, some might say, too polite to say you have blood on your hands. Resign now. Liar, you did this. And this is, unfortunately, I think that article that you had pulled up, you were pointing a long list of attacks now from illegal alien invaders in the past 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, it appears that they're piling up, and there might be other things that we haven't heard of yet. This is very inconvenient for the administration. They certainly don't want this bad press, especially as we're heading into this major election. So how do you
And in this
explain
election
that?
year,
They've never
Blake,
been able to. They just acted like their races there, like it was some kind of Republican that people were. Why would they be complaining about the border? And like text to keep the rest of the country insulated. And then Greg Abbott, the governor, decided to start shipping people up to sanctuary cities. That got the attention. And then some of these cities are being overwhelmed, and there's pushback. And so they're getting a taste of it, and they're saying this is not a good idea. But then, of course, you get a lot of Democrats, leftists, that would be happy to take these people because they think this is their new future voting bloc. And as long as they can beat Trump and MAGA, then they're okay with it. So,
right.
But I mean, this is affecting communities. So these people, we don't know who these people are. They don't have background checks. We're finding out some of them have been deported before, and then they're let back in, and they continue to commit more crime. They send them back.
The numbers that I've seen have been different. I've seen different content posted because it's all just a guessing game. We don't know how many people snuck in. You got to take off your shoes at the airport, but you can sneak across the border. You can't hold down your job. You get kicked out of the military. You get fired from the government if you don't inject something. Oh yeah, but 15 million people that have been uninjected. Come on in. By the way, we're going to give you money to come on. We're going to buy out the hotel. Just go throw a party for like a year. Yeah, we're going to kick veterans out, but fuck them. Like, are they out of their fucking minds, Blake? Every day I tune in to the Cuckoo Clock Express. Every day it's something stupider than the day before. And it's one thing when it's stupid. It's one thing when San Francisco has shit all over their streets. Well, you voted for it. You walk in it. Chicago. Oh, they're going to go after the good people in their right to defend themselves with our God-given right to the Second Amendment. But you know how many people are dying in their streets every single day in Chicago because of gang warfare? They let that go. It's like, well, it's your shooting range. You voted for it. But this is something, and if you watch the Steve Bannon clip where he's yelling in front of his audience that we all know that Donald Trump won in 2020. We know that you installed Biden. We know that he's not the legitimate president. Americans have fucking had it. Regardless of 2020, we're looking at what's happening now. And somewhere between 21 and 36 states, Blake, the number of people who have snuck into this country, who broke into, it's breaking and entering. You weren't invited here. You broke in. It's breaking and entering. It's a home invasion. You're breaking and entering into this country is larger. 10 million, 15 million, 20 million. I don't know exactly how they're quantifying this. Because like I said, you're not catching what you're not looking for. It's what Scott Adams always says about the 2020 election. It's like, oh, well, 56 court cases said that it never occurred. No. It was never tried in a court. Not a single court gave a opportunity for the case of 2020's election to be tried. It wasn't ruled against. It certainly wasn't proven. The amount of people who are in this country now because of what they have done, of course it has spilled to every state USA. And the numbers of people who are losing family members and friends, loved ones, coworkers forever because we've let monsters inside of our daycare center. You'd have to be a moron to do something like what they've been doing. Or it's part of an intentional overthrow of the United States of America. And pretty soon, the lights are going to go off. The power is going to go off. The heat's going to go off. The water at your tap is going to go off. There's going to be a couple blasts across the sky. The EMP will rain down, and we'll be back to Amish times. And all of the people that are here, the battalions of Chinese, from the Middle East, the people coming up from Central America, the gangs, the cartels. It's going to be the purge, but they're going to have your addresses. They're going to have you marked as somebody who doesn't play their game, who, I don't know, maybe is a dangerous MAGA supporter. I'm telling you that all of the tools are there right now. If I were a bad guy, Blake, I play this game all the time. If I were a bad guy, well, I'll tell you what, all that shit I just said, if I were a bad guy, sometime between now and the election, it's going to be go time. And this entire thing is going down. It's on. It's going to pop off, Blake. If I were a bad guy, that's what I would do. So Rick is asking, why do I have to buy a passport to leave, but they can enter for free? No shit. I saw the comedy video of Tyler Fisher. He's a great comic based on New York. Awesome trumpet. Great impressions all in general. He does this video where he's kind of running through the day. He's like, I'm running. I'm migrating from New York to Mexico so I can cross the border and get free healthcare. And so I can stay in a hotel. It's tough out here. So he does this whole skit about that. Exactly, Rick. It's insane what's happening now. Several of the other stories in our stack, Blake, if you wanted to bounce to one of the next ones, it's top 3 are all about immigration. If we wanted to, I don't know what you had handy next to you there. But yeah, Blake, Rick says, as expected, Americans waited till it's the ultimate disaster before paying attention to what's going on. He also says, Brian, it's by design. It's being done on purpose. Yes, I've played that game. Is Obama incompetent, or is he a demonic traitor? And he's not incompetent. And there are a lot of traitors across the country. The Cheneys, the Bidens, the Bushes, etc. Rick says, then they partake in the $900 snatch and grab rule. Exactly. The cities that don't prosecute the bad people. Rick continues, the scariest part of that will be the medication shortage. Think about it. Yes, maybe that will be one of our sponsors. We'll get one of those medication provider sponsors. Okay, Blake, you had another story here. Past Laken Riley's death. Oh, I guess just to wrap up what I was saying about the George Floyd of 2024. Hey, we've been screaming, I told you so. Communities have been saying that police have been policing for profit and abusing their citizens instead of just kind of being there to help out. Like, they're there to fill quotas. They're messing, they're harassing, they're shaking people down, they're threatening, they're using abuse. People are sick of being treated like we're doing something wrong by these protect and serve cops. Now, the numbers on racism, that's a whole other story, and how George Floyd fought his arrest. Otherwise, he just would have went to the detention facility in handcuffs. He was on his way to being done. Like, nothing abusive was happening. It was his own actions that got him on the street that day. But I think Laken Riley is the flashpoint, and I think this is not going to let up through 2024. The Let's Go Brandon stuff, when he first started, that pales into comparison. That was just like, this guy's a bumbling fool and the economy sucks and whatever. Now we're in the middle of 2 wars. Maybe we're getting sucked into Taiwan. All the Hunter Biden stuff's coming out. It feels like everything happening is being done to damage America, and the people are not going to tolerate it anymore, Blake. So yeah, anyway, medication shortage, well noted. Good point, Rick. Okay, Blake, should we replace the offensive term illegal aliens with newcomers?
I do disagree there, but that's the way they wanted to frame it, and I guess they were blasted for it. So I will pull up a story here that'll let me. White House savaged for calling illegal immigrants newcomers. That's how they got to spin. Like, this is all okay. It's no big deal. They're just newcomers. Critics of Biden's open borders agenda of illegal immigrants crossed into the United States ripped his characterization of them as simply newcomers. So to compliment his visit to the Texas border today, the White House released highlights of the unpassable comprehensive border legislation in the Senate. And in it, they wrote, the bill also includes $1.4 billion for cities and states who are providing critical services to newcomers, because that sounds good, rather than just illegal alien invaders. And it would expedite work permits for people who are in the country and qualify. So here it is. Here's the fact sheet from the White House on Twitter X. As you can see it, the bill also, yes, here it is. Critical services to newcomers. Aw. It'd be sweet if we were welcoming in newcomers. Like if we just, the country was just, the economy was just booming so hard, and we just had all this labor shortage, and we just wanted to find all of the best people that wanted to come have a better life here in the States, and we could give them jobs and opportunities. They have clean records, and we know who they are. We could integrate them into our culture, and they'd be happy to be here, happy and productive citizens. That would be awesome.
And Blake, how about these people from Colombia or Bolivia, Nicaragua, or Belize, Guatemala? Okay, so they started going on the path. They went to their local public library. They were on the program for 12 months, for 18 months in their country, and they're taking the citizenship quiz. They've done their background checks in advance. They have lined up with employers who are seeking people that are trying to get fast green cards to work. Blake, if we're doing a proper job of vetting who's coming through, these aren't violent people. Number one, violent people. And I consider theft to be a violent act, by the way, because that is the ultimate violation of the non-aggression principle. When you take from somebody, you have the right to defend yourself. I cannot be. This is me, my person. My person extends to my home, my castle. You cannot take from me. And if these were people that were coming in and they were on the waiting list, we've already vetted them. Hey, man, cool. That, like, maybe not so many, but at least we filtered out all of the pathogens that could kill us. That's why we filter water. Oh, well, it's not a lot of people. It doesn't take many sips of water to get beaver fever and die at all. A couple of drops, a tiny little drop into a cup of tea could off you. So you filter. That's what we're screaming, and we've been saying for 30 years. They're showing the Bill Clinton clip. I probably tweeted it out, so check it out at American_media_. Follow Blake at TV's Blake Walley. And it's Bill Clinton from the 90s talking about a common sense border policy that if you closed your eyes and changed the accent, Blake, or just read the transcript, you would think it's a MAGA speech because there's nothing crazy about it. It's common sense. It was before the craziness of the police state, the Orwellian police state of Bush, and the anti-American overthrow tactics of Obama. That's when everything changed, not for the better. So yeah, newcomers, I think not. It's so disingenuous, man. It's really irritating.
Yep, I don't blame them, because I guess they would have to do that in their position, but it's not going to work. It's these little word games they play. But yeah, but then we're going to be here to call it out. So, hey, nice try.
Exactly. All right. If you had anything else to add on the newcomers, please do. But rolling into the next one, Blake, agree or disagree that new immigrants should be prioritized to receive new jobs? Shouldn't the people that broke in, shouldn't they get to sit down at your kitchen table and expect a dinner? I mean, why not, right? I'm already here. By the way, when I'm done, I'm feeling a little randy. I'm going to take one of you or both of you, or you know what? How about all of you? And I'm going to have my way with you because it's all about me now. I'm the guy that broke in, right? Ding. And his teeth glisten in the reflection off of the light source. This is insanity. They want to prioritize people. They've literally been kicking out elderly residents, legal residents of this country are suffering. Places are being shut down. Schools are being shut down. Airport areas are being taken up. Blake, all across the country, this is happening. Americans are suffering because of the uninvited people who are here. And Kathy Hochul, she's one of the best, huh?
Oh, absolutely. What a peach. Yes, Kathy Hochul, the hideous Kathy Hochul, moving forward their plan to prioritize illegal immigrants for New York State jobs. So isn't that amazing? Then they could have just worked this out beforehand. Like, hey, we have a labor shortage. Hey, let's find some good people we can bring into this country, and we'll, I don't know, give them applications and interviews from abroad, and then we'll bring it. We'll settle that first, but not like, oh, okay, well they came over here illegally, and then they happen to get bused to a sanctuary city in New York, and then now they're suddenly getting the priority. It's amazing. Yeah, the amount of benefits that they're getting. New York and California, they're getting health care, they're going to get car insurance, and you better believe it, they're going to find some way to give them voting rights this year, and they can absolutely swing multiple elections across the country.
No, I mean, no. N-O, no. Never. To hell with them, no. No.
Yeah, I feel bad for them, but this isn't our problem. We're rewarding them. It's one thing to give them like a few months of asylum if they needed it. It'd be one thing if they were actually refugees escaping from something and they could find some way to, we could help each other out for a little while until they're ready to go back. But that's not what this is at all. It's just a big slap in the face towards Americans that, could have used those jobs. Meanwhile, we've got economic issues ourselves, and we've got a major homeless problem, and now we're gonna now we have a housing shortage. So what are we gonna do?
Up in your state of Michigan, Ilhan Omar, a lot of people allege that she and her brother committed
Minnesota
fraud. What did I say?
Michigan.
Oh man. Oh, maybe I was looking at Kathy Hochul, but that's New York. Anyway. Yeah, it's all blurring together. Minnesota is what I meant. Ilhan Omar. It's alleged that her and her brother committed immigration fraud to get here, claiming that they were husband and wife, but they were brother sister. You talk about Americans and who's an American and who's not an American. You have people like Ilhan Omar and people in the squad, people who have come over and stayed in pretty radical enclaves, places, people that don't like America, that are actively on the wrong side of almost every single policy. If you're not bringing in people who are already, up to date on citizenship, they're all in on Team America. I mean, I said it's as crazy as a Cleveland Browns player going into the locker room into practice with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wearing the wrong jersey and everything. No apologies. Expecting to be able to learn all their plays and do whatever they want at their facility. They're not on the same team. So why would we want to encourage more of these enclaves across the country? Minnesota used to be a normal place. Minnesota used to be, well, I guess I was probably conflating some of the Minnesota and Michigan.
Well, yeah, right. Well, you had crazy Talib there from Michigan, so that's another member of the squad. Yeah, I mean, they brought in a lot of Somalian refugees, so they had to get out of there
and Columbus,
and they made little Mogadishu and Minneapolis and welcomed him in. I'm not saying it's a great mix, or that it was a great idea, but they had to go somewhere, and they were, maybe worth taking a chance on. And it's going to take a while to assimilate. There's two very, very different cultures. I don't know, but yes, the Congress. She's awful, of course. The Congress lady. However she got here, legally or illegally, she should not be getting elected again. That's for sure. But
right.
These policies are really getting exposed, and I hope people are finally going to take note. But who knows? People can't trust the integrity of the election, so maybe they are getting voted out and we just don't know about it.
Thank you, Blake. There's no way I can be convinced Trump didn't win all 50 states in 2020. That being said, and I have no proof of that, and I'm not asserting that based on anything other than looking at the world and not understanding how anybody could have voted the other side. But yeah, it's beyond insane from what it was just 3 years ago. Rick Norman says, my neighbor is an immigrant from the Philippines. He served his 7 years, got his green card. They had his prints and his DNA. He's a good guy. And he's mad as hell. He said California is making illegal aliens cops and giving them guns and badges. They're trying to turn the armed forces against the citizens with non-citizens who have no allegiance. And that was one of the main stories from George Floyd and Ferguson and Baltimore, all of these uprisings of the past decade. It's like you have these outside people in Ferguson. They don't live in the community. They drive, they commute to go in. They're abusing and shaking, just grabbing people by the ankles and shaking them down and stealing money from them. They're like abusive to the people. So you always want your government as local as possible. So if you're unhappy, you can replace that person. Bill here is saying that they're also looking to have them serve in the military for an automatic citizenship. So yeah, it's like, is there a global war that we're needing to stock up for? We're trying to stock up on pawns for the great global game of chess. We've been talking about alien disclosure. That's come out in the past year. Project Bluebeam. Are they going to pull the big one? Is it just going to be an EMP solar flare? Like, are all of these people, these military-aged men, being brought in to be sucked into a United States fighting force against someone else or against the people that are good Americans here already in this country? I fear it's the latter, but damn it, we should fear if it's the former as well. So anyway, that's something to be aware of. Okay, so the immigrants, blah, blah, blah. Anything else to add on that before we get to Biden?
No, not really. It's chaos everywhere. It doesn't make any sense. And we didn't mention that, it really does affect a lot of the other immigrants that, do want to come to this country, good ones that have already been vetted and waiting for their opportunity, and they're not getting that because we're getting swarmed at the border. It's very sad.
Thank you for saying that, Blake, because that reminds me of one key point that I thought about earlier, and I wanted to make sure I worked in. President Trump said something along the lines of, and they're not sending us their best and their brightest. Trust me, it's not their best and their brightest. They're emptying prisons. They're emptying insane asylums. They're emptying the mental wards. We're not getting their best and brightest. The way that lying legacy media did what they always do is they twist and they distort and they frame and they try to set it up in the perfect little package to make it seem like Trump is saying immigrants aren't good or bright. All immigrants are bad. None of that could be further from fucking reality. What it was to literally say there are dangerous killers, rapists, gang members, all jihadis, all sorts of violent people who have ill intentions, who are trying to get in. So it's like I said with our drinking water. We take a scoop from the river, but wait, I'm going to pour it into my filtration device first, and it will drip through, and I'll drink from that. So if you want some immigrants, you filter out the trash, and you go from there. But when you have toxic pathogens floating in your drinking water, you can't take a sip. And the Democrats, man, they're at the water hose. Those racist Democrats are at the water hose like they were in at the kitchen counters in those black and white photos with the German shepherds. They're launching water at you from the fire hose. So, drink it up if you want, but you're not being fed reality. Everything Trump said, I thought he was overplaying the border issue. I didn't realize it was this bad. Holy shit, is it bad? In this Laken Riley case, man, it never should have happened. And there's 10 other stories from this week as well. I've seen the car crashes. I've read the reports of the deaths. None of these should have happened if you filtered this stuff out of the water supply. You're intentionally liable if you dump poison into the water supply and it goes out. Biden, Mayorkas, Harris, the Democrat Party, Obama, the puppet master, Soros, the other puppet master, the DA who's not locking up the violent people. They are poisoning the water, and they are responsible for these deaths. Okay, that's all I have to say about that. Okay, Blake, moving on. We're going to head into the final quarter of the program. Biden is mentally fit and doesn't deserve a cognitive exam. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I'm going to obviously disagree with that. It's amazing. I guess he apparently is getting to skip it. But speaking of the border again, just to tie this in, because Biden did go to the border today. So let's take a look and see how fit he really is. And as you can see from this post from Autism Capital, the man can't even move. So let's watch this.
Can you full screen that, Blake?
You got it.
There we go. You know, if I were Hollywood, I'd have Jim Carrey. Nice and cool life. Maybe some aviator glass. He's slurping on some ice cream as well.
Yeah.
Like his gerbil water dispenser, lapping up ice cream.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I can just let that run on a loop, I guess, but he doesn't. He is really fading apart. It's like grandpa. Like, what if if it would be fine if it was like, former President Biden. Oh, he's old and he wants to go check it out. Oh, isn't that a cute little photo op? We got the Border Patrol and a couple Secret Service men just escorting him as the respect of a former president. But he is way past his prime, and everybody knows it. And so we still are just playing along with this charade here. So we'll pull this down to modernity. Say, why didn't Biden take a cognitive test during a medical exam?
Blake, a random thought that just popped into my head there, watching Mr. Burns shuffle in. He really does look like Mr. Burns, just kind of walking like this. Or he also looks like the Elon Musk robot. What's the robot called? Not Gemini. What? I forget the name.
Yeah, of it. Gemini AI or Grok.
No. It's literally a robot, a humanoid robot that's walking through his plant. I think it has a name, but as I'm watching that, I just got this thought in my head. I'm wondering if he's received a handshake from somebody down there. People are meeting and saying hello, and Mr. President, I'd like to say this, I'd like to say that. I wonder if anybody has grabbed his hand and held it and then started squeezing. Have you ever had a handshake that was maybe Trumpian? How he grabs the handshake and he'll pull you in. It's like trying to just dominate you and the physicality of it all. Have you ever had like a really strong handshake?
Sure.
Because I just wonder if anybody who can't really speak up and they can't really speak out and they can't really say, Mr. Biden, you're a traitor or this. I wonder if you could shake the hell out of his hand really strong and say something really quietly under your breath. They can't get you into trouble, but you send a message. Man, if it's time for something like that. I don't
think Secret Service would like that very much, Brian. I don't know if you can get away with something like that, but it's an interesting thought.
Well,
here's an interesting thought.
No harm caused. No harm caused. Just no harm caused, of course. Just saying, a very firm handshake as you pull someone a little closer and you kind of tell them something under your breath that can't get you in trouble, but it's also pretty clear what you're saying. Anyway, I just had that visual.
Do you think he would even be receptive of that? And as Rick is saying, would Biden even remember taking the cognitive test? Would even remember shaking your hand, Brian? It's clear to me that he's a puppet. He's being is curious who's pulling his strings, making him do things. I did have another article in the stack. I didn't even pull it up. I think it was former Speaker McCarthy even talking about that. Like everything behind the scenes, it's all scripted. They have to make everything easy. We've seen even his like little flashcards. He's got to know who to call on, has his talking points in front of him. He's lost without a teleprompter. He's unable to speak. So yeah, they're babying him along and pretending like everything's fine, but clearly it's not fine. And now he's skipping a cognitive test because, well, we really know the answer to that. It's not going to go well. They'd probably have to remove him that day if people got their heads out of their ass, or maybe if they weren't being, lied to, just propaganda shoved down their throat that like everything was fine and that, Biden's great, and then Trump is the Russian spy. Then maybe they would see the reality of the situation here. which is this guy is not capable. And a lot of people are saying that. A lot of the polls are showing that. So I don't expect him to run for re-election. I don't even think that the leftists could prop him up any further. But who knows? They might. It feels like our country is blackmailed. Like everything is controlled. I don't know if it's China or Israel or something. It's like they're just fucking with us too. Like, here, we got America by the balls. We're just, now that we're a laughing stock around the world, and we've got the puppet president in taking America down.
Yeah, so. You're not right. I mean, tell me something I don't know. Okay, so
right.
What else did you have here on this one?
Well, I was just saying, the exam did not include a cognitive test, despite innumerable examples of Biden getting lost on stage, thinking he had talked to dead political leaders, falling prey to embarrassing verbal gaffes in recent months. I mean, he's always been making gaffes, but I mean, it's pretty alarming when he's just lost on stage.
And Blake,
we all.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, when the Her report came out, it was like, well, he's an old man, he's a little forgetful, and and it's like, well, why, if he's incompetent to be held liable for that situation with mishandling documents from back in the time when he was a senator, let alone a vice president without security clearance. It's a perfect legal excuse to get you out of culpability and getting you out of blame, but it sinks your campaign. You're done. Like then you're incompetent. So yeah, it's like what Bill is saying. He goes, the doctor said that Biden was mentally fit. So if he's fit to lead our country, he's fit to be tried in court. So yeah, I mean, you can't have it both ways, pal. You got to pick a lane, So we'll see. I mean, he's got to be the most unpopular political figure, maybe of modern history. I don't think it's even close. You would think.
But we'll see how history plays out. So, how will it look kindly upon the Biden years?
Right. Well, we are going to find out. Okay. Speaking of Biden, Blake, did Hunter Biden just sink the Biden crime ship? Agree or disagree that Hunter Biden just sunk the Biden crime ship?
I will say I'm not completely up to date on what happened at Capitol Hill, because I know he did have to speak closed doors at Congress and got a lot of questions about who the big guy was and his business dealings. And he's basically said he was, was high and drunk, and I'm sure he was. We know that Hunter likes to party. Perhaps he's been blacked out for a number of years and doesn't remember anything. And then he's trying to push stuff off as though, his father was out of service. And it's wondering, like, if he didn't actually run against Trump in 2020, maybe none of this stuff would, of course, even be brought to light. Because, yeah, they could be just cashing in on the family name from behind the scenes. We'd all be completely oblivious. But once he takes power and allegedly becomes the president, then this stuff is all fair game. So, but I mean, it's disgusting either way. You can't, sell your name and sell out America for your little shady business dealings. It's disgusting. This is treason. So
it sure is. And this is from Representative Jim Jordan here. He's at Jim_Jordan. So it says, I'm just going to buzz through this. It says the Hunter Biden deposition thread. Number 1, Hunter Biden said that he didn't recall dropping a laptop off at a Delaware repair shop. Multiple FBI and IRS officials have said that they authenticated the laptop at the Delaware repair shop as Hunter Biden's in December 2019. 2, Hunter Biden said that he did not remember a lunch at the Four Seasons in D.C. with CEFC officials and his dad. Rob Walker testified that weeks before Hunter Biden and his business partners received $3 million from CEFC, Hunter Biden hosted a lunch that Walker attended at the Four Seasons, where his dad dropped by and addressed the CEFC officials for 10 minutes. That's number 2. Number 3, Hunter Biden said that after Burisma executives talked to him about the pressure coming from the Ukrainian government, he did not call anyone in D.C. if he did, Hunter Biden said that it was likely his children. Devin Archer testified that after Hunter Biden received the Burisma executive's request, he called D.C. He called his dad. Number 4, Hunter Biden said that he never fully read an email from James Gilliar stating that Hunter would hold 10% for the big guy in their joint venture with CEFC. Documents showed that Hunter Biden responded to the email without protesting or even questioning the suggestion that he would hold 10% for his dad. Hunter Biden testified that he truly didn't know if the big guy referred to his dad. But everyone knows who the big guy is. Number 5, Hunter Biden said that he did not recall sending a message to Chinese business partner where he stated, "I am sitting here with my father." But he said that if he did send the message, he was certain his father was not sitting next to him. And in fact, he sent the message to the wrong Zhao. Strangely, the Zhao that Hunter did message responded as if the message were meant for him. And then, the next comment is, "This is what an actual smoking gun looks like." So, I mean, we will see, Blake. I mean, will anyone ever be truly held accountable for any of this stuff? What say you? Do you think there's way too much to ignore? Or just they're going to keep getting protected for some reason?
I think they're going to get away with it at least into the next election, and then they can try to sweep it all under the rug. And if Biden's not there, then maybe they will stop pursuit. Unless Trump wins, then I would expect some retaliation at some point, and they should be held accountable. They were willing to do it, so.
Yeah, and it's not retaliation; it's justice. It's justice. It's not retaliation. It's not vengeance. Right. It's justice. It's not retribution. It's justice. These are clear crimes. There's supposed to be protocols that you don't overstep. And they, with Obama, my God, I'm not saying it's just him, but everything changed with him. And Biden's been elbows deep beyond the borderline with all of this stuff. Burisma and Victoria Nuland in 2013 overthrowing Ukraine, 2014 overthrowing Ukraine, propping up their puppet Zelensky. This is a United States, Obama, Biden, Victoria Nuland effort that's got us on the verge of a nuclear World War III with Russia for some damn reason. I just wanted to add this as well to add context, and make sure you're following us at American_media_ on X. This is out there that we tweeted about or posted. Georgia resident reports that illegal immigrants are getting signed up for driver's licenses and signed up to vote at the DMV. And Blake, of course, we discussed that 75 mile an hour illegal alien that should have never been here, crashing through a red intersection, hitting 3 cars and killing a mother and daughter. God, you watch that video and it's just, even if it's blurred out, it's just gut wrenching. Should have never happened. But I don't know if this is next in the stack, but I do have it queued up now. What is next here? Hunter Biden. Let's get to Rand Paul really quick. I think this is a super important story. Let me pull this off the screen before we get to Catherine Herridge, and then we wrap tonight's show up. Blake, agree or disagree that Mr. Rand Paul would be an incredible successor to Mitch McConnell?
Well, I will agree. Now, the language here comes actually from an independent, RFK Jr. So
that's your boy.
RFK Jr. says Rand Paul would be an incredible successor to Mitch McConnell. And you know what? I would definitely agree. Oh, look at that. Some, I don't know where these ads are coming from, but it's very interesting. Some very pretty ladies there. So independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy said Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky would be an incredible successor on a post on X. McConnell announced on Wednesday in a floor speech he would step down as the leader of the Senate Republicans in November, but would serve out his term in the Senate, which ends in January 2027. Oh my God. So he's still going to be just lurking around in the background, but at least he won't be the actual leader. I wonder if Schumer would do the same thing. God, I wish both of those two could be recalled. They would be on the short list. But yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be the passing of the torch to another. Yeah, be from one Kentucky gentleman to another. So I'm on board, Brian.
Yeah, well, Kentucky's 2 out of 3, right? You got Rand Paul, and you have Mitch McConnell. Couldn't be more opposite. And then you got Thomas Massey. You know, Massey and Paul, like they're pretty good. If you're talking about dreamed, okay, Blake, is there any other state in the union? You remember that game NBA Jam? Did you ever play that as a kid?
Yeah, I used to have it on my Super Nintendo, I think. But yeah, I played it in the arcade.
Did the Timberwolves, were they invented yet? Were they on there?
Yeah, they had like Christian Laettner and I forgot who the other guy was. He was like a dunk champion. The guy that they drafted like #1 overall, like their first year in the draft where they got the #1 pick. Isaiah Ryder, I think. Yeah.
Isaiah Ryder. Was it Jamal Mashburn?
Yeah, what?
Jamal Mashburn could have been one of them as well, or Jason Kidd. Yeah, I forget exactly what years who played for what, but
Not the Dallas Mavericks. I don't remember, but
oh yeah. Sorry, I was thinking Mavericks there. But I was gonna say if we were putting an NBA Jam together, and Team Kentucky, you know, instead of the Timberwolves, Team Kentucky has for the 2 players on the court, Thomas Massey and Rand Paul. Is there any state that can field a competitive team against them out of representatives based on their constitutionality? Is there anyone that even comes close to being like a small government libertarian type good dream team of representatives?
that's a good point, Brian. I don't, off the top of my head, no, because I would hold Rand Paul in high regard, and I really like a lot of what I see from Thomas Massey.
Right.
So I think that would be the team to beat.
I think so too. Who's the team that's getting the #1 draft pick? Who has the 2 worst representatives from the state? What, California or New York or Illinois or Georgia?
Yeah, it's going to have to be some of those, but I'm sure they've got
Arizona?
some same people in some of the red counties, but I don't know. Yeah, senators. I mean, California is going to be probably electing Adam Schiff for the Senate.
Oh, no way.
It's insane. After Feinstein, they're going to get Adam Schiff, and then who's the other one? I don't even remember. They've had some awful candidates
Boxer,
there.
Pelosi.
Pelosi's
I know I'm
still
conflating
there.
different houses of the, you know, you got the Senate and the House, but anyway, it's an interesting question. Maybe this is a topic we could digest later.
Yeah,
that would be a fun. This would be a fun article to write or to put out on the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Like if Congress was in a game of an arcade game of NBA Jam, how would your state fare? That'd be a lot of fun. Okay, we'll explore that later. But tell us about so Rand Paul. He's pulling for him, and I liked what you said, Blake. If he's going to step down in November, nah, bro, step down now. We like, how do we demand this? How do we wrestle the power away from him now? He should be kept as far as possible away. And by the way, this is after I believe his sister-in-law was involved in a very suspicious car drowning in a very small body of water, I believe, at a family farm, where a Tesla went backward, and they said they had it on video. I still haven't seen the video. Have you seen it? Have you seen that story, Blake? Because somebody was sending McConnell a message is the accusation.
Well, they've already, he was getting heckled at a speech. I forget, it was like a year ago. There's calling for his resignation. And he's deeply unpopular. I don't know why he's still there. But until America wakes up and then realizes, oh my God, what is happening here? We've trusted these people. We've turned a blind eye, and they've totally sold us out. Then if that can happen, if we can reach that critical mass and people, then we can start recalling some of these traitors. And Mitch would have to be on the short list.
Gotcha. All right. Anything else to add on Mitch?
That's it, man. Just a quick one.
Another quick one. Blake, agree or disagree that pornography is an intentional weapon of mass destruction? That's a great headline there, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. And that was put out by Candace Owens. the other night. So that was interesting theory. He says pornography is an intentional weapon of mass destruction. Now, for me, I guess, do I agree or disagree? I would say that I would disagree, although, it certainly probably does more harm than good. But whether it's like was designed as a deliberate, intentional weapon, no, I wouldn't go that far. But says it was designed to weaken.
Oh, I'm sorry, Blake. I was just going to say Candace has also been, I believe it was Candace, was talking about the books that were being burned. What books were being burned? What books and magazines were being burned back in those days? Rick Norman, he's saying, how do I find the Unhappy Hour? Go on YouTube. We have a channel. It's some stuff is there. Just search the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. But there's a great Facebook group, the Unhappy Hour Sports Show, a support group. That is the private group. If you click to join, it'll say, how did you find our private group? And just say, Brian invited me. And then one of our admins will let you in. It's pretty fantastic. I love the sports group. Thanks for mentioning that. I hope to see you over there at the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. I love it. We talk about all things sports, but I'm a Cleveland homer. Blake's a Minnesota guy. But yeah, love the sports. Okay, so porn. Yeah, what books were being burned? I believe it was Candace talking about that. I believe she was saying that it was just piles of smut that certain people were creating and trying to destroy their culture with. Wow, that's quite a. I don't know if I ruined your lead there, or I don't know if you're going to build up to that if that's in your article, Blake. But
I wasn't sure. I know there was like outrage against Republicans because they're trying to ban books out of schools, and it's like hardcore gay sex for their 10-year-olds. It's like no, that's just indecent. It's not really appropriate for kids of that age. It's not actual like book burning, to make that distinction there. But Candace is saying with the pornography as an intentional weapon of mass destruction, that it was designed to weaken men with an understanding of their physiological responses, and it is also designed to drive men further into perversion. And it's time to look into the history and profiteering of pornography. And certainly there's a lot of distasteful stuff, but I don't think it was like design. I mean, it's human instinct. It's men instinct. Men will, spend a fortune going to the strip clubs or chasing women or what have you. It's in their, it's just, they're wired that way. So pornography, I think, could be, a healthy outlet for some. I don't have a huge issue with it, but it's, there are some stuff that it is perverse and it's distasteful and it's going to have a negative effect, and it's can be, sort of, dehumanizing or what have you. But I think it can also be, healthy, and that's just, normal. We're sexual creatures, and some people have an easier time obtaining it than others. And for those that have, more, it's easy to say when you're, beautiful woman, beautiful man. You see a lot of those like, big alpha males are ripped, they're 6'2", they get all the women, and then they're going to criticize, oh, you shouldn't look at porn. And, it's like, what? Not everybody's as capable as you are. So if they want to go have their outlet, then I don't know why that's an issue. I'm not, criticizing Candace. I think it's a great point to, it's controversial and it's certainly interesting. So I don't know, Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, look. Yeah.
Brian, you look at porn a lot, don't you? You talk about it constantly. Hey, check out this scene. Dude, you wouldn't believe. 2 girls, 1 cup.
I've still never seen that. Knock on wood, damn it. I've made it all these years and I've never had to see that.
Well, let's watch it now. Let's just stream it now, and because I haven't seen it either, Brian. Why don't we just roll clip?
Wow, I guess this night show really did take a turn, didn't it?
Right.
Maybe that's why Blake wanted to do an after-hours show, because it's gonna be like the red light district up in there.
Yeah, let's bring it.
No, look, I think anything done to extremes can be problematic. Let me co-opt a word of the limp noodle leftists. It could become problematic if you stop off and have some fast food occasionally. Uh, just if you occasionally do, not ideal, but okay. If you have it every other meal, that's you got to get some balance in your life. If you eat nothing but fast food, not 80-90%, we need an intervention, right? It's the same with jacking off. It's the same with gambling. Put $10 on a game or $10 on a game, but like, when you reach a point, it's like $500 every night. You got 5 devices in front of you, and you're cursing, and you're banging on the table, and you're yelling, and there goes the mortgage. And it's like, yeah, you can gamble too much, just like you can jerk off too much, But the having available resources to control the urges of all humans. Now, not everybody is hardwired the same, of course. Not everyone's going to have the same sex drive. But the release that people are seeking, sometimes that's a little easier with some visual aids, right? And unfortunately, there's some crazy people that can't control themselves, and if they can't find a release, maybe they attack a college student, abuse them, and then end them. What's worse? I'm not saying it. Just like the churches say, if you do it, you'll go blind. Masturbation will make you blind. I'm not saying that if you don't masturbate, you're going to go attacking off somebody at a college campus, but pent up sexual aggression is kind of that's not ideal either. So if there's willing participants, unfortunately, there's too many people putting out content from people under duress or humiliation, and like people on drugs or there is a really bad side to the industry, and there's a lot of people that get into it, and bad things happen, really bad things. But that being said, if you were to find a way to really clean up all of the abuses happening in that industry, and you find people that are just willing participants, I mean, in a libertarian society, you do as thou wilt, as long as you're not harming somebody else, right? So it's an interesting question. It's just, you don't want to eat Snickers every time you walk past the hallway. So, you don't want to spank one off every time you're scrolling and you see an advertisement, or you see a glimpse of a commercial, and you go, ooh, that reminds me, I'm horny again. I'm going to do it again. It's like, okay, yeah, I mean, we've all had days more than others, right? But anything to an obsessive degree can turn really bad. And any complete deprivation can be really bad. So I don't know. I mean, let's continue the conversation. I'm not as against it as a lot of people are, but I also recognize that it can really, like Billie Eilish said, not that she's the expert or anything, but you can watch stuff and it can really warp your brain. And then you can take that weird warped stuff into your personal life, and then that can warp your personal life. And it's like, you got to kind of be ready for it. And unfortunately, if you're 11 years old and you have a cell phone in your hand, I mean, good luck not being exposed to inappropriate content. Rick is saying gambling is very addictive and it can crumble families. Porn just makes a guy want his wife more. Yeah, in the appropriate manner. And it's look, it's like the guy might be ready to go 31 days a month. Or what did the Beatles sing, Blake? 8 days a week. That's how horny they were. They wanted to get it on 8 days a week. Okay, maybe not, but it could apply in this case.
The same thing, but yeah, okay.
Rick is saying that porn just makes a guy want his wife more. I mean, look, the wife is not always available because of the time of the month. The wife is not always in the mood. The wife is not always, just for available or in the mood. Well, what are you supposed to do? You just pretend that you don't have the urge that you have. So what do? Do you try to get on a dating site and start talking to people? Is that the game plan? You're going to try to have an extramarital relationship because you're not getting it enough in the relationship? Or do you go to a website and log in, zone out for a little bit, and then you crack your knuckles and, you tend to the rest of your day. And that was that. That was a little, a 10, 15-minute excursion into a moment of, at least this 10 minutes of my life doesn't completely suck. I mean, you're telling me doing that is worse than trying to reach your biological drives when your lady or a lady is not available? I don't know. I wouldn't want to see the opposite side of that very much either. So, any final thoughts, Blake?
Well, one thing is it's a lot more accessible now. I know, Brian, we're old Gen Xers, so it's probably a little different. Remember when, they used to have
wait. I'm an Xennial, or Xennial or Zennial, because I'm Gen X and Millennial. I'm like right at that 79 cusp. It's like a year and a half or 3 years, depending. There's a couple people say it's like 79 to 82 or 78 to 81, but it's an Xennial. I'm not Gen X and I'm not Millennial. I think it's the perfect time to be born, but I'm sorry. Continue on your point.
Thank you for the clarification, Brian. That was yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even know what I'm talking about now. Okay, I'm just saying. Now it's just you can just pull it up and it's everywhere on your phone, your computer. Back in our day, it was like a lot more difficult. You had to walk into a movie, get a magazine. They'd have magazines. It'd always be it'd be embarrassing. You'd have to ask a store clerk, or you'd have to go into the back door of a movie. Some of those like a Blockbuster. I don't know what they had it at Blockbuster, but other movie stores, and you'd have to go in the back. Don't want anyone to see you, and you got to let here's the video I want to watch to the clerk. That'd be weird, going to your neighbor and saying, "Hey, this is the scene I think I'm going to masturbate to later on Pornhub." But that's the way it was back. The kids have it so easy these days. But Candace Owens, it's from a female perspective. So she's just not used to that. Yeah. Girls don't have that same kind of thoughts with men. With men, will just absolutely go nuts. We see boobs, oh my God, and then we want to see naked girls, and we'll spend on it, and we'll go to a dance club, girls dance. People want to see that, and that fills that urge. But I don't think it was designed necessarily to to prey on and destroy our culture, but it can have a negative impact for many people. So I know a lot of people get addicted to it, and certainly, it's an interesting conversation. So,
do we know who owns Pornhub, Blake? I don't know if I know that.
I heard it was
Elon Musk.
No,
Elon Musk owns Tesla, and Jeff Bezos owns Amazon, but Pornhub is a very prominent, very powerful website, but I don't recall who runs that.
I don't remember. I think I've heard. I actually haven't been on there in a few years, although I will admit that there was certainly a time but I don't like that's because Greg is oh my God, there's all this variety, it's free, it's unbelievable. So we didn't have that kind of access when we were kids, or we watched Cinemax, or we call it Skinamax, and you'd have sit through some awful horrible movie just to see you get a couple of nipples or something, and oh my God. But that's how men are wired. So Candace doesn't quite understand that instinct, and that's okay.
Yeah. But, all right. Well, let's stay on top of that part in the sexual innuendo there. Okay. Last story I added to the stack. It was right here on the Twitter feed at American_media_. Blake, maybe we should have ended on the pornography, because I was a little more lighthearted.
We were gonna still have the Diddy thing. We didn't put in a caption for it, but we did mention it, so we can tie that in because it does deal with sex and I don't want to say porn, but
we'll save Catherine Herridge. Tell me the Diddy thing, because you've been hearing the rumblings. Cat Williams.
Make a mention. Catherine Herridge is kind of old news, but it was alarming that she's one of the few good journalists left, and she was fired by CBS, and they took her stuff. So she might have had access to secret sources or what have you. You got to protect your confidential sources. That's everything. So that this is just flaming fascism. So kudos to the SAG-AFTRA, so the Screen Actors Guild, putting pressure and saying this is unprecedented. This is not ever supposed to happen. So
But
it
Blake,
feels
there's
like
more.
yeah. Okay, so go ahead, just real quick, and then we can hit the Diddy thing, and we'll get out of here. We're at 1:19, so we got to be done. 90 minutes is our limit.
Yeah, there's more to this, though. The latest in this story is that federal judge Christopher Cooper just held investigative reporter Catherine Herridge in civil contempt for refusing to disclose her source for stories about a Chinese-American scientist investigated by the FBI during her time at Fox News in 2017. She's now facing, this is a story from today, she's now facing an $800 daily fine until compliance with a 30-day stay to appeal. She was just fired, blah, 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 and she's known for pursuing the Hunter Biden alleged corruption story. So now they're doing the same thing that they're doing to Trump. They're trying to bankrupt him. They're trying to ruin him financially. $800 a day until you tell us what's going on. It's like First Amendment, fool. That's all you got to say, right?
That's all you should have to say. Yeah, but now they're breaking the rules. They're changing everything, and because the kleptocracy has taken over, the ruling class is now, taken over, and we got domestic terrorists from within running the country, and they're scared of being exposed, I guess, and so they are absolutely panicking right now. And so they've shut down journalism over the years, because it used to be those are the kind of things that made your network, was like you go break these huge stories and hold powerful people accountable. But now those powerful people just run the networks, and they don't want you making waves. They don't want to get sued. They don't want to, they're trying to protect their own under the guise of, oh, these are the official journalists, but they're just reading the scripts and covering up for the bad characters that are actually running the show and controlling the networks.
And the big question is, are things worse than they've ever been, or they've always been like this? It's just now they can't lie to us anymore. Now we always catch them in their lies, and they're freaking out because they're all caught. So has it always been this way, or is it just a flaming pile of dog crap right now for some reason?
No, it's just gotten progressively worse over the years. And so now it's just really, now it's just in our face. Now it's completely taken over. It's the Federal Reserve. There was the killing of Kennedy in front of us, and then it's just escalated from there with the military-industrial complex, CIA, and they have run the show. It's the deep state. And then Reagan took over, and he had an assassination plot on him. They almost put George Bush in, but then they kind of controlled the rest of his presidency, and then they shut down Ross Perot in the early 90s, and then Trump won. I think they did not expect that to win, and they freaked out for 4 years and tried to say he was a Russian asset, and then now they've meddled with 2020. It seems a lot of suspicious things. We're not quite taking the results of the 81 million verified votes, and not this puppet President Joe bumbling Biden. And so causes you to question our entire reality.
It sure does. Go to CISA.gov/rumor control so you can get countervailing views, because they want you to believe this is the only election in history that was not subject to voter fraud. Okay, final story, Blake. Another one that got added to the stack at the end. And we are out of here, folks. Thank you for joining us tonight on the Agree to Disagree show. Blake, agree or disagree that Diddy is donezo?
Yeah, it appears so. I just caught wind of this a couple days ago, but it seems like it's got legs, and a lot of people are running with it. So, we've known the music industry is dirty, but this is an alarm. This is quite the bombshell going against Puff Daddy. Here's a tweet from Ryan Dawson saying the hip hop community is about to get super exposed. Stevie J, P. Diddy, Meek Mill, Chris Brown, Usher, all having sex with minors, both sexes, and each other. You want a contract? Suck a dick. It's that bad. So, yes, this has been exposed in court. Somebody that worked for Diddy put out this. Here's the court document. Southern District of New York. It's against It's from Rodney Jones, who did work with them and just blew the whistle from within. He didn't want to go along with all of the awful stuff, and they kind of screwed him money-wise because he wouldn't play ball. And so he just decided, hey, it's time to expose these people. And it's some pretty dark, disgusting stuff of what's going on. It's still breaking. Let's see, is Liz Crokin's even talking about it? Might have tying Justin Bieber into it. Not as a
Britney Spears too. Britney Spears.
Yeah, Britney Spears. It could be any number of young people that get preyed on. And this is how the industry works. You kind of got to do your time, pay your dues, but you might have to, sleep with some other music star or worse. You see a lot of
Harvey Weinstein
stuff and you're blackmailed and compromised, and it's all used against you. So we're talking about, videos and such. So it would, like, Diddy would want to say sleep with this Rodney Brown, get it on camera. That way he would never expose him because he'd be like, oh, I'm blackmailed. So it's some pretty dark, nasty, disgusting stuff that goes on. But these people have gotten very wealthy. Yeah, talking about even shootings, murder. It's really bad. I won't go into. Well, there's a lot of salacious videos, a lot of sex workers, a lot of minors. It's kind of the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. Also, lacing drinks, drugging people. At one point, I guess this man was drugged and just kind of woke up like was roofied, woke up. Oh my God, what was I doing? I don't know. How did these people get here? Why am I in bed with another man? It's that bad. So, but this is, it goes on and on. This is quite extensive. Lots of pictures. So he saved a lot of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and look who they gave the Super Bowl to, Usher, huh?
Yeah, of course. It's weird how that works, isn't it?
Yeah, go figure. Your lifetime.
Club, man. They are good. They own you. Well, yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. I had this conversation earlier today, Blake, and we'll end on this. Unless you had one more point to make there. It's just, I went to Los Angeles and I worked at a very prominent and powerful talent agency. And we were talking about Britney Spears. Kevin Federline was there at the time. Walked past him in the elevator. But, my conversation earlier today with somebody was, look, I don't understand. I would have been an incredible agent out there. I would have been a great agent. I was on the path, but for various reasons and where I ended up as a second assistant to two ladies, and it was, borderline abusive. But I just kept showing up because it's like, I want to make it work. I don't know what it takes, but I said, I thought I would have been a great agent. I don't know, but maybe had I gone that path and made it as an agent, maybe my whole life would have been different, not in a good way. Maybe my life would have ended. Maybe I would have been a much less awesome version of myself if I went down that path. So, on the other side, I think it would be cool if there is another side to see what would have happened had you made a different decision in life. And you could kind of see out how your life would be different had you made this choice or that choice. But then again, people say that might be your personal hell. All the things they say hell is looking at the versions of you that you could have been. And it's like, oh, damn, that's harsh. But yeah, anyway, Wesley Curry saying, and are you going to do it anyway? A
few interesting posts there, but yeah, it's weird. Yeah, you got Justin Bieber here with Diddy, and who knows what actually happened. I guess Stephen Baldwin came out and he's trolling. So let's take a look at this quick tweet here from Liz Crokin. She's exposed a lot of this dark stuff. Justin Bieber's, I didn't know his father-in-law, Stephen Baldwin, posted on Instagram last week that Hollywood fucked around for too long as he danced around with a Punisher bag, no less. He thinks I think Hollywood's about to find out. So we've been waiting for some more exposure. This kind of stuff was kind of starting to come out in 2020, and maybe it's starting to accelerate now in 2024. So kudos to Baldwin. Better shut the music off because we're going to get called for copyright.
That's right. Thank you, Blake. Good call. That's very wise of you. I appreciate that.
But there he is. He's got the Punisher bag. I think that's pretty cool. So Stephen Baldwin. So
and what is the Punisher? That's a symbology in the.
Well, it's a comic book character, and I didn't see the movies. I didn't follow the comic book, but yeah, perhaps there's going to be a vigilante justice. I don't know. That's my guess, but.
Well, I think the Punisher has been used in the Q circles.
Okay, yeah, that too. It's also being used for Trapped International, but yes, it's. Anyway, so yeah, we I hope so. Let's bring it on. It all needs to come out. It's poisoning our society, and it has for a long time, and people have had no idea. A lot of your favorite actors and musicians are deeply compromised. You know, they sold their souls, but in one level, you can't blame them, and then another level, it's like, yeah. So what do you do? What if you do if you're Usher and you want? See, we might not have even heard of Usher. Usher might be actually an usher at a movie theater somewhere, making $8 an hour, hating his life, wishing that he had sucked that dick, so he would have gotten that big record contract, and then he would have performed at the Super Bowl. But yeah, I guess maybe you look over at the after you're gone. We shall see. All right.
We shall see. Yeah. All the choices that what did Yogi Bear say? When I come to the fork in the road, I take it. He didn't say left or right or any advice. Just when you get to the fork in the road, I say take it. It's like Yogi. I don't know. Anyway, okay, Blake, thank you so much for being here today on the TNAM Night Show. I think this is number 3. I need to title it number 3, I suppose. But I do kind of like this evening. How did tonight feel for you, Blake? I know Blake and I have been having a lot of discussions about feel, tone, tempo, fun. Did this bring me joy? So on your way out, what did you think about today in real time?
It was good. I mean, it was very rough first 10 minutes because I don't know. I'm guessing it was my end. The technicals of the internet or something was really distracting. But I think we got into a groove later. So yeah, I'll enjoy doing these shows. Just keeping them reasonably tight and focused, and definitely be happy. Yeah, we're still trying to find that right formula and the right days, but we'll just continue producing shows. And thank you everybody for finding us and hanging out and participating. Good to see you guys, and we'll look forward.
Yeah, your comments were great tonight. Your comments were great tonight. Thank you so much. Blake, tell people where to find you on our way out the door, please.
Follow TV's Blake Walley on Twitter, X. It would be the best spot. And of course, the archive is also on the nextlevelnews.com. So thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you so much tonight. To be continued. We'll talk off air, of course. And if you like the New American Media, the 2 places I did not recommend to you yet were the newamericanmedia.com. That's about to get a facelift. It's in the works. And the other place is patreon.com/the New American Media. If you like what we're doing, maybe buy us a cup of coffee, would you? Sign up to be $5 a month. Support us a little bit. It all adds up. It all helps out. Who knows if we 10x our following, if we 100x our following, maybe a whole lot of our Blake, maybe we're all reaching a fork in the road. What do you say we take it?
Sure.
It's up to you.
Amen.
If you like what we're doing, please share our content. Like go out there in the world and be our hype men and women. Like the people that who would agree with some of this stuff, who would enjoy some of this content, could you grab the clip and maybe direct deposit it to them and copy paste? Like help us get the word out. I think Blake and I knock out we sift through the shit and we try to give you the most relevant. We don't always get all of it, but I'd say for 90 minutes, we do a damn good job of packing the right stories in there. So Bill saying, great job, guys. Thank you so much. Great job to you, Blake, and everybody in the TNAM universe. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. Peace.
Thanks, everybody. Later.